It's another I'm not editing it. It's another unedited, unmasked, raw, real, completely unwatchable video of mine. So it's kind of just really the same. Oh, hey, I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about helping you raise your level of understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of the autistic community. Why? I have an autistic son. I'm autistic. That's my why. What's your why? The only thing I refuse to allow you to do is to tell me that my why is not good enough or wrong or not acceptable. You can get stuffed. Your why is your why. My why is my why. Today I want to talk about, in this completely unedited, unmasked video, I want to talk about some parenting struggles. And this is appropriate for people that don't even have or want kids because you're still autistic adults, okay? And you still were born, which means as autistic adults that have no kids, you have parents or they might not be alive, but you had parents or you have parents. So it's really appropriate for everyone watching because you'll relate to it on both ways. And I want to read a few comments I've got that are bang on this discussion. And these aren't like nice comments, by the way. Like I'm not talking about reading out comments that are glowing. These aren't glowing comments. These are very, very confrontational comments. And I think they help the discussion. So it doesn't matter if you don't have kids. If you are a human who was born, then you have parents. You've at least experienced them. You're going to relate to this. Struggles of parenting. Let's start off with my son, my autistic son. So you've probably seen him in videos and live streams. My wife and I currently he's 9, a 9-year-old autistic son called Conan. Now, last week was his grade 3 school camp. You can already see where this is going, presumably. But let's backtrack. So the week before his grade 3 school camp, so I guess, 2 weeks ago, my man Conan broke his hand at school. How? Well, in his own words, during a sports class, PE class, he in effect ran into a structural building pillar, what he might refer to as a giant metal pole, and in effect broke his hand. He kind of broke I think it was one of the fingers close to the thumb. So pretty much over the next few days after that incident, his whole hand just swelled up and got bigger and bigger and bigger. It got to the point where we thought, yeah, this is probably not like bone bruising or whatever. So my wife took him to the ED and they did some x-rays and they clearly saw, yep, okay, so you got a fracture there in your hand, and they put a cast. It's not the full cast, so it's a half cast. Wait, could I say that? Can you say that? What do you say now? If you have a cast on your hand and it's not a full cast, it's a half cast, can you say that? And if not, what do you say? I'm confused. How big was the cast, Orion? Well, it wasn't a full cast. Okay, cool. What was it then? Well, it was half. So it was a half cast. Whoa, hey, I didn't say that. Everything's so confusing. My wife didn't even want to say that. I'm like, what do you call it then, mate? All right, move on. Okay, so then they said, you've got to take your son to a hand surgeon, which is basically a plastic surgeon who practices specifically on hands, because obviously that's a very micro type of surgery. So we had to take Conan. Now we're talking like days before the week of school camp into the city to see a hand surgeon, plastic surgeon, specialist guy. And thank goodness he said, yep, we don't need surgery, don't need to manipulate it. It'll heal. It's definitely broken. It'll heal the way it is. It's in a good position. And they took off the not full cast, and did you ever see these days? Like when I was a kid, you literally got a plaster cast, yeah? Broken hand, broken finger, plaster cast. No, they make this like moldy thing, not mold like it's gone off. Like they mold some sort of, I don't know, plasticky, weird substance that sets to the exact position needs to be on his hand. He even picks the color, so he picked blue. And then they have like these Velcro straps that kind of attach to it, keep it in place. Which, as you can imagine, is now the number one stimming toy on the planet for our son. Yes, the Velcro straps that keep his very important thing in place to help his hand from healing. Of course, every time he does the Velcro straps, he moves it out of place and his hand's gonna not heal and he's gonna need surgery. Anyway, so thanks for the brand new stimming toy. It kind of goes against the purpose of trying to keep the kid protected from his hurting his own hand by Anyway, whatever avoids the not full cast is what you want to do. So we got one of those. So now we've got a kid who only has one hand. He can't use his hand for like a month. So in any kind of fun activities. And what's about to happen? That's right, grade 3 school camp. Now, if you have an autistic kid, or maybe you're an autistic person and you can remember, whether it's as a kid, teenager, young adult, or now, you don't especially like leaving your safe place, and you certainly don't like the idea of going away from your safe place without your safe people, namely for our son, us, his family. And you certainly don't like sleeping in weird places. Potentially even worse, can you imagine, as an adult, I can't imagine, can you imagine having to sleep in a room with multiple people that you don't get to choose in like this close proximity, in these uncomfortable beds with nothing more than a sleeping bag and a pillow? Now, I know that's school camp. I've been to school camps. I know that's school camp. No issues there. What I'm saying is, as an autistic person, actually take that back. As an autistic adult, that's bloody horrible. This kid's 9. He's got a broken hand. He's going on a camp that's at least 2 hours away from our house. And he's basically on the premise of he's going there and he's going to have to be without us and go to sleep in a room of, 3 or 4 other school kids that he doesn't choose, in close proximity. I think as an adult, as an autistic adult, you can imagine how kind of challenging that would be, right? And that actually proves how hard it is to be an autistic kid, because this stuff doesn't wear out. We've talked about this, whether it's like dating or whatever. It's hard to go to sleep in close proximity to other people as an autistic person. It just is. It just is. So this is what happens. Now, this is actually really a big part of this parenting discussion. And this is why it's relevant if you don't have kids, don't want kids. But you're a kid from a parent, right? Okay. So now it's going, the new generations have it so much easier, right? I want to talk about that. And because I reckon that's absolute rubbish. And here's my frustration. So let's say, okay, so I've got an autistic son. I'm autistic. Okay, well, it's a genetic thing. Great. Okay. That means that as a child, as an autistic child, I'm talking about me now, I went through all these same experiences. Like I went to school camps in primary school, with like elementary, whatever you call it, and, school camps in high school. Right? I went to all these camps. And I don't remember very much from my childhood. And I think that's pretty autistic. But I do remember flashes of school camp. Now you have to ask the question, why? Are those flashes like these amazing, like life-changing, amazing memories? No, they're not. Are they horrifically traumatic? No, they're not. But what are they? They're enough to stay up here. And they're flashes of me in school camp. And there's this constant sense of distress and anxiety and just feeling literally like I had walked into a room of people who don't speak the language that I know, and I'm struggling to work out what I'm supposed to do. So I'm thinking to myself, well, hang on. I've gone through this. He's about to go through this. What was my experience? And then I thought, okay, what was my experience? How was my experience altered to help me in any way? Now, I was an undiagnosed autistic child. So that's tricky, yeah? How was my experience altered in any way to cater for what did manifest in an undiagnosed age? The anxiety and the distress and these types of things. Nothing. Nothing. So when I was a child, school camp for me was like everyone else. You go to the school and get on the bus. I think one of our camps, we took a train. You go to the train station, get on the train. Your parents or parent wave goodbye, and you're done. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad experience. I'm saying this is my experience as an undiagnosed autistic kid, right? Drop off at the bus, train station, see you next week or see you in a few days. You have the experience of getting there. You get there. You have the experience of, getting a room and moving in with other kids and going to sleep and all that kind of stuff. So I guess the point I'm making is, so when I was a kid, nothing changed. Nothing changed. I was just put through the same ringer as every other kid. Nothing changed. Was I distressed or anxious? Could I have access to my parents, or could my parents pick me up, or did I have to do everything, or whatever? Yes, I did, and no, I had no access. Were my parents even accessible? Right? No. Okay. So that's my experience as a kid. The parenting experience of my generation, this lost generation of undiagnosed autistic people who slipped through the cracks as kids, because when we were kids in the late 1700s, science simply hadn't reached, the medical profession simply hadn't reached the idea that there was a spectrum, right? So it's hard, anyway, so I'm not going to go into that. And now I've completely sidetracked myself. So what was I saying? I was saying something about, this is crazy. So we all experience this, which is nothing. The alteration in parenting, nothing. The alteration in education, nothing. Nothing. Okay, and you can say, well, we didn't end up so bad. And I agree. But the argument that I can treat you like this because I was treated like this, or I experienced this and I turned out okay, that's a crap argument. It's a bullcrap argument. You can shove your argument. That's a stupid argument. It doesn't make any sense, by the way, with regards to the evolution of life, the standards of life. They all change and evolve. So that's just the most ridiculous argument. Anyway, that's how we were brought up. Okay, so and how hard would that have been? Right? So you're saying you had a kid who was undiagnosed autistic, meaning they manifested things were hard, were different to your other kids. The manifestation was different, was trouble, was hard to deal with, made me a kid, potentially, that you just hated and didn't want to parent, couldn't wait till they racked off to school camp to get a break from them for 3 days. But that could have been your experience as a parent of me, or a parent of, other undiagnosed autistic adults, like watching this. Okay, cool, no worries. But so you're saying you did see a manifestation, right? You're saying we were hard to deal with, or tricky kids, or kids you needed a break from. Okay, so pick one. Either there was no diagnosis to be had, so none was sought, or you could see manifestations that were tricky, but what did you do? Nothing, right? So that's the frustration of my generation, this kind of lost generation of late diagnosed autistic people. Now, cut to me being an autistic adult, married to a neurotypical wife with an autistic kid. We've got another child too, 4-year-old, right? Okay, so what's the difference? This is where we're saying, no, bullcrap, it's easier for us as a generation. That's not true. That's actually not true. Because we have a diagnosis based on the medical system progressing, right? We have a diagnosis. We know our child requires support, daily support needs, and we have to provide that to him. Okay, so what did we do? What did we do differently to what was done to me or to you on these types of school camp experiences? So much. Like, I'll tell you exactly. You won't believe. This is a school camp experience. So we dropped Conan off at school. He got on the bus and he went to school camp. We came home, got in a car, and we drove to the same town that the school camp was in, about 2.5 hours from here. And we stayed in like a caravan park or whatever, in the same town as the school camp, for the duration of the school camp. So if he at any stage felt anxious or uncomfortable or distressed, we could be there within, I think from the park to the camp was like 9 minutes. We could be there in under 10 minutes to talk him through it, to comfort him, to support him. Okay? We did that. Now, when I say we, I mean like our 4-year-old, me and my wife, no work, nothing else happening in our life, just stop and stay in a caravan park 9 minutes away from the school camp to support our son. Whole family. Now, we did that on the premise that knowing we're 10 minutes away will provide him with the comfort he needs, the reassurance he needs to experience a school camp to the degree that he'll actually, hopefully, experience the lessons, the life lessons that you're supposed to experience at school camp. Forging friendships, independence, adversity, adventure, pushing your limits, finding out, new things about you. School camps are important for that reason. So we can dump him on the bus and say, mate, catch you later, and this kid comes home traumatized. Actually, he wouldn't have got on. He comes home traumatized. Or we can do this, and that's what we did. So we as a family quit everything in our life for 3 days, drove 2.5 hours up the road, stayed in a caravan park 9 minutes from the school camp, just on the premise that he knew we were there. We were there for him, okay? Now, it was a 2 or 3 night sleepover, right? Because it's only grade 3. 2 nights. 3 days, 2 nights. Did Conan sleep over for any of those nights? No. No, he didn't. He slept with us. In fact, my wife picked him up on the first night, I reckon 11:30 at night. Sorry, there was one edit there, and I'm puffed because the doorbell rang, and that stressed me out big time. So that's why there's an edit there. Doorbell rang, I'm puffed. Didn't necessarily do anything to the door. I just kind of ran around the house and looked through windows and worked out what's going on and waited for them to leave and then came back up here. So first night, my wife picks him up really late. Okay. Now what happened was earlier, we had an agreement which was, and by the way, can I say, his school are incredible. They are. The teachers, the staff, support workers, the parent volunteers, incredible. Did an amazing job. They would provide us updates. So at dinner time, he's doing really well. I think he wants to stay. Great. 7 or 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. He's getting a bit rowdy or a bit anxious. So we talk to him. We talk to him on the phone. What do you want to do, buddy? You can hang out and see how you go and just give us a call. Or we can come and get you now. It's up to you, right? So they worked really, really well with us, and we really appreciate how inclusive they are. So that's the first night. Comes back to the caravan park, sleeps the night with us. We get up, get him some breakfast, get him dressed, take him back to camp for the next day. He has another breakfast at camp and then has a great day at camp. Now, this is a really small difference. But when you think about it, so he's had a day of camp, and then he's really just missed the sleeping part, and then he's gone back refreshed and energized, but also reassured and comforted. He's had his parents, he's had his break, his sensory break, and he's gone back and he's had another day. And he's achieved great things, and he had lots of fun. And the teachers themselves said, he enjoyed the experiences and the adventures so much. And this is with a broken hand, don't remember. So the second night, maybe this is the night. Maybe this is the night where he's going to make it, right? In fact, no, we picked him up even earlier on the second night, which was better because the later, the worse it is. So same, conversations with the teachers. I'm not too sure how he's feeling. We had a talk to him. We picked him up, right, 9:30, whatever. And then he slept the night, and then he decided on the final day of camp, after he woke up in the morning, which was really just kind of a few activities and then packing up and going, that he doesn't want to go back. He's happy just to go home. And that's cool. We didn't take him back. We didn't make him go back. There's no point. He's experienced 2 fun days. So we packed up our stuff and the family headed home. Now that's the school camp experience for our 9-year-old autistic son. He experienced all the main things you want a kid to go through. The meal preparation, right? The serving, the cleaning, the adventures. Even the idea that he had to get ready for bed, get in his pajamas, make his bed, try to go to bed in a room with other people. He actually tackled these challenges. So he experienced really everything we'd want him to experience. But this is not an easy sacrifice. We packed up our life for 3 days and stayed in a caravan park 9 minutes away from the school campgrounds. So he knew we were there and we could be there for him. And the premise was every time he wanted to come back, he didn't want to sleep there. We were like, we're not going to argue. It was like, well, we've come all this way for that reason, mate. So that's fine if that's what you want to do. But, from a parenting point of view, can you see the differences here? Like, this is a big difference. So we're talking about And here's how I mean it, right? Let's say you've got a kid and they're one of those kids, you love them, but from time to time you need a break from them, right? You need a break from them. Okay. Have you had that? Have they spent the night at a grandparent's or a friend's sleepovers? Have they gone to school camp for 3 days or a week and not come back? Well, we've never experienced this. In 9 years, we've never experienced this. So don't tell me that parenting was harder when you were raising me, because I was just handballed. You were just handballed. Again, this isn't about the parents. This is just about the idea of the differences. Do we have that luxury? No, we don't. What were we going to do? Strap him to the chair in the bus as he kicks and screams and gets traumatized forever, and just see you in a few days? There wasn't. In fact, he wouldn't have left the house. So the achievement was getting him to actually do the camp by providing him with this level of support, which is a massive difference. So instead of having a few days break, him from us from him, which is healthy, we spent more time than ever together. This is not even remotely close to the type of parenting most people would probably experience, except for people, like us, parents of autistic, neurodivergent kids, or you as an adult who remembers their childhood. And this is like the whole conversation about parenting for me. I've written a couple of things down that I thought that were my thoughts that I didn't want to, forget. So I'm going to try and find out what I said. I guess what I'm trying to say is the idea that you can be a parent and that you are able to do the little things like, I don't know, read your kid a book, kiss them goodnight, and then close their door and walk away is not in the realm of reality for us now, let alone 5, 9 years ago. That's not a reality. I'm told that is a reality for some people. That's astounding to me. The idea that parenting is easier now. Well, no. For example, let's talk about discipline, right? Okay, so, when we were kids, there was hard discipline. There was physical discipline, right? Physical discipline, hard discipline. And it was one size fits all. Now, we well know in this day and age, physical discipline is not an effective tool. It doesn't work, okay? And also hardcore discipline, so kind of like mental mind game discipline, like I must break you in order for you to be a good child. I mean, like emotionally break you so I'm the boss. What are you, a pirate taking over a ship? What are you talking about? You're the captain now. What do you mean? That's not parenting. And when you have an autistic kid or a neurodivergent kid, I believe you can't parent them. You can't parent them. You could only raise them. What's the difference? Parenting, in my opinion, is like this punitive, yes, no, right, wrong, I say you do. Carrot and the stick. Doesn't work on neurodivergent kids. Raising is doing your best to guide this person through day-to-day challenges, explaining to them the right and the wrong, showing them the right and the wrong, and helping them become the best person they can be to experience the best quality of life they can have. That's very different. Most styles of old school parenting result in people having a very bad quality of life, not knowing what's right and wrong. So these are like the thoughts that I was writing down. I mean, this is the thing, right? When I was a kid, I took the bus to school for a lot of times. And here's the reality of it. It's school time. Okay, get on the bus. See you when you get home. Sometimes multiple buses. Right. Was that fun? No. Was I bullied? Absolutely. Bullied a lot. Really bad experiences. Camp time. Just go to camp, see you in a few days. That was the experience. Was it fine? No. I remember school camp experiences. Sure, there's fun parts to it, but it's the parts that you don't think about that stay with you. We're talking about things like I said, like the sleeping in rooms with people, the proximity, the no safe people around you, being in a completely unsafe environment, not knowing what you're going to eat and drink. These are really important for autistic kids, right? Okay, so my experience was get on the bus, go to school, come home, whatever. Just do it. Go to camp, whatever. Just do it. Now, again, I'm not saying this is not like bad feedback to your parents, my parents, whoever. I'm just saying this is the reality of parenting then. And the reality of parenting now for me is we put Conan on the school bus, I think maybe a couple of years ago. And the level of bullying was so constant and so significant that we could no longer keep him on the bus. To which now my wife and I take turns dropping him off and picking him up. Of course, because we live in like regional Australia, it's about a 45-minute drive to his school. So it's about an hour and a half round trip. So we're talking like basically 2 hours between leaving here to get him and getting back twice a day. Now, if you're struggling on buses when you're a kid and your parents say, don't worry, we'll drive you to and from every day, right? What's the difference there? That's a big difference. That's my reality of parenting. My reality of parenting. Again, why? Just put him on the bus, mate. Who cares? So he can be traumatized, right? So he can be bullied. You see what I'm saying? You have to draw the line at what is reasonable adversity and what is traumatic. So my experience of parenting is we just drive him until he's ready for the bus, till he's older. And if he's going to go on school camp, we're going too. And we're going to be there. And it's not going to be a normal experience. And that's where I want to get to now. The comments and thoughts I've got from people on parenting. Because it all comes back to my idea of, this generation of parenting neurodivergent kids is significantly harder. Not because the kids are easier to deal with. That was hard. But because because of where, I guess, modern day medicine and science is, we actually know so much more that we are in effect obliged or forced or want to proactively support them. And that's hard. Parenting autistic kids is hard. There's a massive amount of work. And there's zero respite. And this isn't about the kid ruining our lives. That's just not true. But I'm just trying to say, this is my whole rant about this parenting gap in generations. This wasn't my experience. Just get on the bus, Orion. See you soon. Go to camp. Catch you later. Like our son. Okay, we'll have to drive you every day, buddy. No worries. We'll go to the same town and you can sleep with us and go back to camp each day. This is a very different experience. All right, here we go. I've got some, like I said, we'll just work through this. This is a really interesting message I got. And then we're going to get to some other ones, this isn't bad, but the other ones are like really bad comments. This one is a question for me saying, do you think or do you believe you were good enough for your parents? And they added, they don't believe they were, sadly. And how this is a really important discussion. Okay, so let's answer that question. Do you think, as a neurodivergent person, do you think you were, as a kid, good enough for your parents? Did you live up to their expectations? Do I think I was good enough for my parents? Or do I still think I'm good enough for my parents? No. Why would I? Why would I? My understanding is, regardless of what my perception is of myself, my understanding is, no matter what I do, it will be not good enough, or it won't be to a level of achievement that will supersede what they perceive as the sheer trauma of parenting me, the sheer trouble of parenting me. That's just my answer to that question. Do I believe any autistic person, child or adult, thinks they're good enough for their parents based on how their parents I don't know, parent them, treat them, act around them. No, I don't think anyone would. I don't think anyone would say they do. I'd find it amazing if you said you think you're good enough. Now, here's the thing, right? If we asked our autistic son, he might give the same answer. No, I don't. But here we are, driving him to and from school every day because the bus is too traumatic, and going on school camp with him, in effect, taking the whole family, right? Doing that for him. And keep in mind, every year there's school camp and it gets further away and longer in duration. All right, so this is not a conversation about right and wrong. This is a conversation about probably, in effect, being autistic neurodivergent. You automatically feel you are not good enough for anyone, your parents, strangers, anyone. Why? Because the manifestation of them towards you is never positive. So, I don't know why people think you or me were provided trauma or were so bad to be around and parent. I don't know. But I can understand, I can see it through parenting my own child. But I'm still doing things to navigate that rather than get on the bus, go to school camp or whatever. Now I know it's focused on the school camp thing. That's because that's the experience we've just had. We've literally just had this. And you know what? We're so proud of him. He went, he did the activities, he tried everything, he gave it a crack. And that's a win. Compared to a kid who said, I'm not going full stop. And we just said, you are, and then it's trauma. We've achieved something together as a family. And that's a big win. Okay, here we go. Stand by, my friends. Let's read this. This is a comment I received, I don't know, on a video. This kind of video is so unhelpful. Autism is not a quirky, cute personality trait. Did I say that? When did I say it's quirky and cute? I didn't. Having a 6-year-old, very verbal daughter actually diagnosed with level 2 autism is no joke. Okay, I have an actually diagnosed autistic child who's also level 2 and is very verbal. So what is the difference? It's literally the same thing. Anyway, apparently this person has an actually diagnosed person. And by the way, this is a parent of a 6-year-old autistic girl. A parent of a 6-year-old autistic girl is saying in written form, autism is no joke. To who? To you or to your daughter? Because last time I checked, it's your daughter, it's experiencing it. And by the way, reading this comment, genetically speaking, you might want to go and see someone, my friend. Let's continue. This is one of my favorite lines. We are facing a lifetime of issues trying to help her have a full life. You know what? You are definitely providing her with a lifetime of issues trying to have a full life, saying crap like that. You are experiencing a lifetime of issues trying to help her have a full life? No, you acting like this is providing the issues that will impede her having a full life. This is the point. If you've watched any of my videos or listened to anything I've said, or even this video I've just talked about, no, parents, you don't get to do that. Just get on the bus and just go to camp. No, you don't. Okay, you have a neurodivergent autistic kid. Okay, grieve, sook, whatever. Get it out of your system. And then grow up and parent. Seriously? Okay, so I've got to drive my kid to school every day. I've got to physically go on school camp. I've got to do things I know will help him have a full life. Do you see the difference? This is an actual real comment, and I haven't finished. If you are watching this as an adult worrying about if you are wasting clinicians' time, you probably are. So now she's targeting late diagnosed or undiagnosed autistic adults because they're not her daughter. Here we go, my friends. It's continuing. Real autism is a life-changing diagnosis which is generally clear during childhood. Yes, that's right, my friend. And the people you're talking to, the adults wasting the clinician's time, were children in an era where doctors were bloody moronic and had no bloody idea about autism. We still don't know about the brain. Things evolve over time, mate. Surgical procedures evolve over time. This is absolutely bizarre to me. Yeah, it's a life-changing diagnosis for everyone, my friend. Seriously. Generally clear. It was generally clear during childhood for me and for the late diagnosed adults watching. It manifested in, you ask their parents. They just didn't know what it was. They just thought they had a crap kid. The fact that the comments section is full of people articulating... Actually, sorry, I'm going to read this verbatim. This is the actual sentence. The fact that the comments section is full of people articulately, is that a word? I don't know. Articulately describing their symptoms leads me to believe that people generally have no idea what autism actually is or how it manifests. Now listen, this comment comes from a parent of an autistic girl, okay? If you are not autistic, my friend, you, this person, don't have the first idea of how autism manifests or any idea in general of what autism actually is, because you don't have it. If you do have it, great. Doorbell again. I'm trying. Seriously, I could record 7 videos and never hear the doorbell once. This is the second doorbell of the day. I can't take it, man. Anyway, that's that comment. I'm ignoring the doorbell. That's that comment. Fantastic stuff. What do you say to that? See, this is parenting. This is the issue with parenting. What do you say to that? Here's another one. Real comment. My 37-year-old son has severe autism. My husband and myself are his full-time caregivers as he lives with us. He is totally nonverbal, with little eye contact. He requires assistance with showering, brushing his teeth, dressing, etc. Our beautiful son, whom we love and cherish, is what I consider an authentic case of autism, which was diagnosed in the mid-80s. Now let's stop the comment there. Everything about this is true. Everything about this is true. And in fact, this comment is all the proof you need that everything we talked about and I said about the comment prior is right. You're absolutely right. In the mid-80s, severe autism, or in other words, an autistic person who we would now say is high on the support needs, high on the care needs, is pretty much the only form of autism diagnosed in the mid-80s. Which, by the way, if you're a late diagnosed autistic adult, that was probably when you were a kid, right? In the 80s, maybe the 90s, but definitely the 80s. Okay, so this is actually proving the point. I agree with you. I agree with you. You're right. In the 80s, we knew bugger all about autism apart from what you would class, what you're wording as severe autism. I agree. Completely agree. Let's move on. I've lost my place. Nowadays, unfortunately, the widened spectrum for an autism diagnosis is truly ridiculous. These mild, so-called cases of autism that just about every other person claims to have now are drawing attention away from the real sufferers of this horrible condition, such as my son, who cannot have a YouTube channel since he is unable to speak. All right. The first thing I want to say here is I'm a parent of an autistic kid and I get it, right? I don't get it to your extent because you're having your experience, I'm having mine, but I get it. I know what you're going through. I can relate to what you're going through. And I'm presumably, because you have an adult 37-year-old son who lives with you and you care for him, I can tell you I can't even begin to acknowledge or understand the pressures and strains on your life. I have 100% respect for everything you're doing. And I thank you. I thank you. I'm not trying to attack you here. But this isn't helpful. Okay, so your son's care and support needs are higher than, say, mine or my son's. Totally get it. So they were much more obvious in the mid-80s. But see, it isn't about light autism or fake autism. It is a spectrum for a reason. Now, the challenges we have can be as significant as your son's in areas where maybe your sons aren't as significant, right? We have different types of challenges and support and care needs. It's fluid. Now, I understand that people absolutely can experience it at an entirely different level. That's why it's a spectrum. So I have nothing but respect for what you're doing for your son, and I thank you for it. In addition to that, it doesn't help your son, who's autistic, and can contribute and have a quality of life that's appropriate for him, if provided and supported. I don't think it's helpful by saying these kind of things to people who are part of the community he's a part of. And see, this is what I understand. So we're not claiming anything. I had to go to not a psychologist, a psychiatrist. They're doctors. And this was a professor who specializes in the area and have multiple assessments and sessions. I didn't go to a drive-through window in Vegas and pay for a diagnosis. So I don't choose, right? I didn't just decide. This was diagnosed. Why? Because it's 2023, not 1983. Do you see that's the difference. It's not that it's light or irrelevant. It's not helpful, right? That's why it's a spectrum. You know, horrible condition, suffers from it. I get it. I get what you're saying. What I would say, if you are a parent of an autistic kid and you believe you are not autistic, then you don't get to say horrible or suffers. Because what you're talking about, what you're actually saying is it's horrible to parent or to be around or to have or to look after an autistic person. What you're actually saying is, I'm suffering as a result. I'm shot. I'm suffering as a result of parenting, caring for an autistic person. You can't say it's horrible or suffering when you're autistic, because that's how you're born. You're different. What you're really saying is you think it's horrible to parent an autistic person. You're suffering. You hate that you have to suffer through parenting an autistic person. That's what I think most parents think. And that's why kids just get put on the bus or sent to camp to be traumatized. That's really my thought. And I think this is a great comment to talk about that. The idea about YouTube, by the way, this is the last point I make on this comment. The idea about YouTube is really interesting to me. So you said your son is unable to speak, which means he can't have a YouTube channel. Really? That's strange. That doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, that's incorrect. So you could support your son, or you could find someone to support your son, a support worker, or your son might have the capabilities himself or herself to create a fully animated or AI or word-based, cartoon-based, video-based YouTube channel. They can communicate, because remember, non-speaking autistic people, they communicate. Just because you're non-speaking doesn't mean you don't communicate. And frankly, faceless YouTube channels are popping up left, right, and center. So basically, you're using AI voice, AI faces. Some are real, some are cartoon, or you're writing. You do not need this, for a YouTube channel. There are many ways. In fact, why would everyone want to do this? So I say maybe animation or music or graphic design or AI or robot, whatever. Maybe that's your way of, creating stuff. So the idea your son can't have a YouTube channel. Now I understand. I don't begin to say I know the level of care and support needs, but the idea that with support that your son or other autistic kids or adults could not have some degree of creative outlet because they can't talk is utterly ridiculous to me. And again, this is the problem. We're getting bogged down in the parenting, and that's overshadowing the ability for that autistic person to actually thrive. But then we're saying they can't thrive because they're autistic. No, I'm saying they can't thrive because they're autistic and you don't want them to be, and you're resentful about that and you're angry about that. So you're going to make the world angry about it too, rather than just getting on with it, dealing with it, and helping them and supporting them. So that's my thought on that comment. Parenting's... I think this is the last one we'll do. And this isn't about what I don't think, but hi, Orion. I've got a question for you. I have a 21-year-old daughter with autism, self-diagnosed at the moment, but working on a diagnosis. Okay, so 21-year-old. As a parent yourself now with autism and parenting a child with autism, do you have any advice for parents or autistic kids in their late teens, early 20s? Was there anything you wished your parents had not done for you at that age that might have helped you on your path? I think it's a bloody great question. And so I appreciate that question. There's many topics here, but I think the key answer to that is encapsulated in this video. This is what I want you to do. Honestly and truly, I want you to reset. Grieve, be angry, be emotional, throw a tantrum, whatever. Get it out. Get it out legitimately. I think this is really important in any process of loss, because you have lost what you would class as, I have a normal kid. I have a neurotypical kid. That's a loss. Do all you got to do. And then grow up. Be a parent and support your autistic child or young adult or teen who has daily support needs regardless. If they're diagnosed autistic, they have daily support needs. Support them. Provide them with what they specifically need. So what does my 9-year-old son need? He needs someone to keep him safe so he can learn. He needs someone to drive him to and from school, to stop him from being bullied and traumatized. He needs the reassurance that his family are really close to camp so he can go to camp and experience it, but still have his family at night. Some sort of desensitizing, getting through the overwhelm and having that warmth of the family. These are basic little things, but it's what's your things. So, in other words, what wouldn't you have to do for a normal child? Because they're the first things parents think. I would never have to lay in bed with this kid till 9 o'clock at night till he falls asleep and then sneak out if he was normal. I'd just read him a book and kiss him on the cheek and close his door and say, good night, mate. So what you're saying you'd never have to do, that's the things you've got to do. I know, hey, it's hard to hear. It's hard to hear. I do it all the time. It's like bloody hell, Renee. Why can't our kids just go to sleep by themselves? Why do we have to spend half our night co-sleeping with our kids to get them to sleep and then sneaking out trying to get 2 minutes before we've got to go to bed? Like, why? The things you say, why can't they do that, are the things you have to help them with and support them with. In other words, you have to flip what you're angry about to be the thing that you're putting energy into helping. And that's how you achieve a fulfilling life. And that's how you feel like you're not suffering through this horrible experience. That is my best and only advice. I wish people would acknowledge they're agitated by having to do things other parents don't do, and then do those things. I can't think of any other way to put it apart from that. I just want parents to know, I get it. Whether you're autistic or not, I get it. Or parenting an autistic kid. It is one of those things where you really, it's just, you almost resent parents with neurotypical kids. I get that. And I feel it. And I can relate to it. I acknowledge what you're going through. But what I'm saying to that is, okay, great. We can all have our little pity party. But at some point, we've got to acknowledge that, accept it, and get over it. Grow up and support the individual person we brought into the world to live their best life. Not constantly bog them down by, why are you so hard? Pulling them down. Why are you so bloody horrible to parent and deal with? They're different, mate. That's as succinct as I can make it in one of the longest, most useless videos I've ever made.